Welcome to the Track Talk Podcast, an in-depth look at popular songs. My name is Matty Margallo, and I'm a singer, songwriter, producer, and a music lover. I'll be your guide as we talk about this week's track, the lovable entertainment icon, the king of green, Jim Henson's most famous creation, and Miss Piggy's true love, Kermit the Frog's Rainbow Connection. Every episode, we're going to provide you with analysis on a track from a music production and lyrical level to its social significance and legacy. But it won't just be me yapping at you about music. We will also have a weekly guest host to help me do it. And boy, do we have a good one for you. This week, we have comedian, sketch writer, screenwriter, rapper, actor, foodie, hotelier, jogger, bombardier, TV network page, active Facebook user, the president of the Academy Awards, the world's worst black belt, and one of my best friends, Arik Cohen. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. I think in your laundry list of qualifiers for who I am, I think some of them are just outright lies.
That's not true.
Wait, what?
Okay.
All right, let's get through them.
You're a comedian, yes. Sketchwriter, yes. Screenwriter, yes. Rapper, yes.
Well, no. Let's go back. All right. Screenwriter, if I've written a screenplay, does that count as...
You've written several.
Yeah, but none of them have been... Anyway, go ahead.
Okay.
All right.
Rapper, yes. I produced your
rapped.
record. Actor, yes, you act.
I'm not really an actor, though. I have acted, but that's like saying I'm a chef because I once made a burger.
Foodie, yes. Hotelier.
That's not a word, first of all.
Hey, you work at a hotel.
Yeah.
Jogger, you do that. Bombardier, name of your sketch group.
Right.
TV network page, you work at a TV network. At the page program.
Yes.
Active Facebook user.
I mean, yeah, but so are most of America.
President of the Academy Awards. Maybe.
Yeah, that's something that I keep close to the vest, and now it's in the public discourse.
I want to. We're doing a special Academy Awards episode this year as well. I made that a thing.
We can do like the 5 best. Yeah. I'll choose like my 5 favorite songs of movies of that year.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah,
that'd be real fun.
Yeah, I already have the list.
And obviously, my favorite, the world's worst black belt, which
that's the most honest of all those.
Which is the most real thing. Once again, that story is you took Taekwondo when you were a kid?
I took Taekwondo from when I was like 7 till like I was 7 or 8 till I was like 15 or 16. And in that like 8 years, I, got eventually to the level of black belt. And I always say that like I haven't done it since, for like 15, 16 years now. So it's like, sure, I'm a black belt because they don't you don't have to like reapply. Yeah. But
once you're in, you're in.
Yeah, but I'm like, I have to be the worst one. I was almost the worst one when I was still doing it. Like, no joke. I when I took my black belt pre-test, they had like pre-tests, right?
Sure.
So you don't like private pre-tests. So you don't embarrass yourself in front of
because it's always in front
thing.
of like
it's
class and their family,
right? It's always it has like an audience for the black belt test, and there's like 9 judges. It's like a thing.
That's
so you go like a private pre-test with like 1 or 2 judges who just watch and see if you're good enough to go up there. And I remember like afterwards, like we had like a meeting with them, my mom, me, and them, and they were like, well, I guess he can test it. Like I wasn't so bad where it was a hard no, but they were like, don't expect much, but you can probably try it. And the only reason I think I got a black belt that day of the test was a fluke. I did this I was sparring this guy who was a black belt, and I did this like back leg crescent kick that I could never repeat ever in my life. Hit him smack in the head during sparring, and like that.
They gave you the points.
They gave me some like I remember like afterwards when I got the black belt, we were talking like I had like I have a 1-on-1 with like the head judge. They said like that was a big.
Wow,
like,
that was your
comment. I have a feeling I was on the bubble and that like pushed me over.
That was
to
your
the
crane kick to the Karate Kid.
Yes. But like so I barely became a black belt to begin with. I was a black belt for like a year and a half, and then I went to a tournament. It was like a big tournament with like all the schools in the area, and I did the forms. And it was like 9 of us, and so you create your own form and you perform it. And I performed mine to music, actually.
Oh, cool!
I honestly don't.
Do you
remember?
Oh, you don't remember?
I don't remember the name of the song, but I know it's on the Snatch soundtrack.
Oh, what?
It's like an instrumental piece.
Okay.
But anyway, and I performed it, and I was like so proud of it. And there was 9 of us. I came in 9th.
And that's when you solidified your standing.
No, it was later that day when I did sparring tournament. and there were 6 of us in our division, and I came in 5th.
Oh.
And number 6 was disqualified, which is why he was 6th.
And at that point, you became...
Right. I stopped, well, because we were driving home, me and my dad was like consoling me, like, oh, it's all right, you know, da-da-da. I remember thinking, like, I just don't care. Like, I'm not sad that I got last place. I really just don't give a shit. And so I was thinking, like, oh, you know, maybe I shouldn't do this if I just don't give a shit about it. You know, I don't know. And then I don't think I ever went back to karate after that. That was like the last time I did it, was that tournament.
Here we go. The world's worst black belt right
here
on
right
our
here,
podcast.
right here in the studio.
So what I usually like to ask all of our guests is kind of their musical background. I know you play a little bit, but you know, maybe what's your relationship with music and kind of you playing? And I know you're an avid music listener as
right.
well.
I think my relationship with music playing is a lot of faster of an answer, which is that I enjoy playing. I've taken piano for a little bit, took guitar for a little bit. I've never been particularly good at any of it. I don't have like the natural musician gene. With practice I can get okay at something, but like it's definitely not a calling.
What your family, parents, anyone?
No, there's really no musicians in my family anywhere. But no one can sing in my family. Like it's just not a musician family. Music itself, though, I've always had a very weird relationship with it because I have a very eclectic, diverse music tastes. You know, I'll be listening to like Rick Ross, then a shuffle, and the next track that'll come up will be Yanni, and it's like these are two very different,
very
artists.
Different artists. Yeah,
and because of that, growing up, I've always been very alone in my music consumption. Like, of course, you know, me and my friends would jam out No Diggity, but a lot of the music I listened to growing up in my childhood and into adulthood into now, I enjoy solely. And I don't get to like enjoy it with other people particularly much. Like when a new album comes out that I'm really jiving, I'll tell people about, like, hey, you got to check this album. Nobody will. It's not the kind of music anyone's listening to that's friends with me. And so I tend to just listen to it by myself. And even in like, you know, middle school and high school, you know, a lot of my friends were into punk, Blink-182, alternative. Like that was big in like the late 90s, early 2000s, Papa Roaches, your Limp Bizkits, you know, whatever.
You're naming everything that our band loves. Actually, me and Shaun's band, Red Giant, loves.
No, there's nothing wrong with them, but it just wasn't my style. And I was listening to like, you know, hip hop, and I was, and not just like Tupac or something that, you know, Tupac's great, but not just the very like,
not just kind of mainstream kind of
right.
stuff.
I was listening to WPGC 95.5 in the DC area, and Donnie Simpson in the morning would play like hip hop. He would play R&B, and he would play like classic soul. And so I would listen to a lot of like R&B. So I'd be listening to like, you know, Mr. Big and the Isley Brothers' new hit "Contagious," when my friends are listening to Blink-182, and you can't really share that. Like if you can't be like, oh, you really like What's My Age Again? Here's a sing-song ballad about cheating on your wife. Like it's not gonna work.
It doesn't really transfer.
So I've always had this relationship with music where it was like, oh, I'm gonna enjoy music. That's something I have to do by myself. And you know, Matt, you and I are great friends, and so of course there's overlap between us.
There's some overlap, but you still have very kind of different tastes when it comes to just kind of what we listen to. But that's cool because we introduce each other to stuff all the time.
Yeah,
and it's like. And I think that's super refreshing. And whenever I see something, I always make sure I hit you with a link of something cool. Even in fact, we just watched that video from Afro I sent you a couple months ago of this rapper, and it was just something cool. And you
quick tangent. Afro didn't go anywhere, right? He put out one mixtape.
I think that's the only thing I ever saw.
I have a theory why he didn't.
Okay.
It's his name. He spells his name A-F-R-O. There's like dashes between every letter.
That's
and I think people just didn't feel like Googling that.
Yeah.
I really think that's what killed him.
Ugh.
Anyway.
Jeez.
Little tangent there.
Yeah, get those tags right, kids, and your keywords, or else you're not going to be found at all for your YouTube
People
videos
excuse any weird name except if it's weirdly spelled to the point where they can't memorize it.
Yeah. Arik is a interesting spelling. Is it Eric, or is that it's its own thing?
No, it's its own thing. It's Arik is mispronounced Hebrew.
Oh, what was it supposed to be?
Arik.
Arik.
Yeah, Arik is Hebrew for little lion, and my mom didn't know how to
So it's not
pronounce
the
it right.
long. It's not the long E sound.
No, but it became that. Which
Wait, what? It's Little Lion.
Little Lion is Arik.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, but that's not what Arik actually literally means.
What does Arik literally mean?
A traitor.
What?
Soldier that goes AWOL. I'm not even kidding. That's actually what Arik translates to.
That's so good. That's amazing.
You know how we found out?
How?
Well, I'm Jewish, obviously.
Okay.
And so, after my bar mitzvah when I was 13, we went to Israel to tour. So for 2 weeks we were in Israel. And we had like a guide who would take us to all these places. And at one point he leans over to my mom and goes, "Why do you keep calling him that?"
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Because it's as if we had a French couple came here and they keep calling their son "Hey, traitor, you want to come here, traitor?"
Right. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But either way, my name has nothing to do with music.
So, with you creatively, I know I've mentioned a couple different things, and I think you are a screenwriter, but how do you involve music with all the stuff you do creatively?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think I'm very musically influenced. I have been for a while. I feel like it actually has been getting lighter in musical influence. But, I know when I was a kid trying to come up with stories, I was always interested in telling stories. A big part of coming up with scene ideas would come from music. I would listen to a song and the song would make me think of a certain thing, and that's kind of how I
Is it necessarily the soundtrack for the scene, or it just kind of inspires
Sometimes,
you?
yeah. Often it was. One of my first short films I made, we're talking handy cam in your backyard kind of short film, totally. It's called Good Morning Mr. Rudy, and I'm sure if you Google that or search that exact phrase on YouTube, you'll find it. I'm sure. Good Morning Mr. Rudy. I can't imagine there's not much with that name, but it's basically a 5-minute terrible action movie, and the whole thing was choreographed to a song by Fatboy Slim. And I listened to the song. I would just keep listening to it over and over again and coming up with the action
scenes.
Beats. And the script was actually seconds in the song what would happen. Fast forward to now, and I still do that. I'll still hear a song and have a visual image and something I want to put on paper from it. I always thought I'd be a good music video director for that reason. But, since I've pivoted more into sketch comedy and stuff like that, that's less of a thing. You don't really paint with visual images set to music.
Right.
But
although I feel like you were very proactive with trying to add music to your sketches. I know specifically in just the last couple months of seeing your sketches, that obviously the rap sketch that you did a couple months ago was very full of music. And then there was one, I think, 1 week when you guys did with the gospel choir. Wasn't one of your sketches kind of a musical type sketch?
No, that month my sketch wasn't musical. So for those listening who don't know me, which is 99% of you
guys will get to know this guy.
So it's I write sketches for a monthly show at a comedy theater in LA called Upright Citizens Brigade. And I'll often have musical based sketches, if not just because we realize that theatrics works on live stage. So it's if you can have a musical pitch, a musical sketch pitch, that goes a long way. Right. And I have experience writing rap lyrics, so I tend to writing comedic rap songs because I'm good at putting together rap lyrics.
And I mean, maybe not even just being a musical type sketch, but just adding music into your sketch. You know what I think of right now? Shaft. The Shaft sketch. Yeah. You have the Shaft theme perfectly, beautifully timed in that sketch. And you have it in a couple of other sketches too, I do recall.
Well, music can be funny, know, and it's like the Shaft one, the whole joke of Shaft acting cool and then tripping. So and the Shaft song is so cool that of course it would have to end when he's not being cool. Right. So it's usually music traditionally punctuates a joke, the ba-dum-ts of the drums or something. And in this case, it's funny because the silence punctuates the joke. It's you hear the song and Shaft being all cool, then he trips, and then the song ends, and that silence after the song abruptly ends punctuates the joke. Right. So I guess I do involve music when I can. I mean, I do like having a lot of cues in my sketches.
Yeah, it definitely feels like you're inspired by it, but also you love using it within your projects as well. The song you chose with today, the one you went with today.
One second. I don't want to interrupt you. So for those listening, Shaun, our engineer, sends like a 15-minute warning to Matt or whatever. He gives like time updates, which is probably every podcast does this. But he hands up his phone and it's like this crudely drawn, like he didn't just type out the word 15. It's like a kindergartner like finger painted 15.
It's a little bit of, we're pulling back the curtains a little bit to the Track Talk podcast, but
it's just so funny.
It's perfect for what we need here.
It's like
he did it. He does that, but he's also done like, I guess when he didn't have his phone with him, he'll do like the numbers with his hands.
That makes sense.
That's harder. That's kind of harder for me. I'm like 51 in my head, but you're talking, so I need something quick to look at. It's a whole disaster. So,
but you would think he would be used to this. He would just have it like. Just like a text, like you just type it down. I don't know. The visual is funny. It went from us talking to like we were being interrupted by your 5-year-old kid showing you his like what he made in school that day. Like, look what I made. As we kind of move a little further away from the topic here, I texted you. I was like, hey, I want you to do this. You were one of the first people I wanted to talk to about a song on this podcast, and you decided that you wanted to go through about 500 songs. So what kind of brought you to this song, Rainbow Connection? Well, I had a lot of criteria, right? I wanted a song that I could talk about, and I don't know, theory all that well. I could not tell you what the chord progression of this means, or, he switches to this pitch, what that means. That's less of what I could talk about. I can say what I like about the pitch and about the musicality of it, but I couldn't really analyze it like you can. So I thought, well, if I want to talk about a song, then it's best that I can discuss the context more. Okay. So I wanted something that I could discuss at length, and or I felt I had a command of its pop culture relevancy or its the context of which the song was created, the meaning of the lyrics, the meaning of the song in general. And so I created a list of songs like that. And also I wanted to make it a song that people knew. I wanted a song. Sure, I didn't want to get on the podcast and talk about a song that everyone who's listening goes, well, now I got to Google this song. I never heard of this. And because a lot of my music,
I'll tell you what, we've done
like
some songs that maybe people haven't heard before.
Right.
So that's part of what I like about this podcast, is like introducing the songs that people maybe not necessarily even heard of, or artists they may not have heard of. So that's part of it. And I really enjoy that aspect of it. And,
I appreciate that.
And for me personally, some of the songs I haven't heard before either. And I like learning more about these songs, and especially we did that Van Morrison song a couple weeks ago, and I had just a blast learning about the song, and then actually I ended up listening to that whole record. It's become one of my favorite records this year. So that's totally okay to do something brand new or something that maybe is a little bit more old school and kind of popular. I think either side of that is great to kind of explore.
No, I appreciate that. I think that just for me, I mean, I have plenty of songs that I know of that I could put up here that I love and could talk about that no one's heard of. I'm not trying to be hipster, but but I felt for like, especially a first time being on the podcast, I'd want to keep it simple.
That's you expecting that you're going to be on the podcast again.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of a big fucking deal.
You are a BFG.
I'm the world's worst black belt. I mean,
is this a song that you like?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I didn't want it to also be, just something that you'd feel comfortable talking about and analyze, but I also want you to actually enjoy the song.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I do like it. I mean, it's not like a song I listen to every weekend or anything, but it's a song that's been a part of my life for a long time.
Right. And I think that's what we're always looking for, is to find something that you as our guest connects with and can talk about. This song, really great, by the way. I hadn't heard it in a while, and then when you mentioned that you want to do this, I first thing I did was look it up and took a listen, and it's just such a great tune.
Yeah.
Well written, beautiful arrangement, and it's so great with the Kermit the Frog singing, who on that recording that's actually Jim Henson.
Yeah, that's Jim Henson
right?
singing for Kermit the Frog.
And it's really lovely. The whole thing is really nice. And I guess it was written specifically for the Muppets movie.
Yes.
What I have here is that movie came out in 1979. And it was supposed to be in the movie, it's kind of there over the rainbow to like the Wizard of Oz, like the Judy Garland. And it's interesting too. It's right at the top of the movie.
Yeah,
it's not this kind of midway song where he's
it's right at the top. I mean, Over the Rainbow is a good analogy because like Over the Rainbow is also kind of a what out there is for me kind of ballad. It's kind of like, hey, what in the world can I get into? And that's kind of like Over the Rainbow is, Dorothy, like, hey, I want to not just be on this farm for the rest of my life, and Rainbow Connection is kind of like Kermit saying, I don't want to be in the swamp.
The whole film is very similar to that, where he's this kind of in this isolated swamp, and he's kind of a small town guy, and then ends up trying to become this big kind of star, right?
And also, like the Wizard of Oz, as he travels, he makes new animalistic friends that are like weird and obscure. So like Fozzie the Bear and Gonzo the Great. I mean, they're all like Tin Man and Scarecrow.
Kind of they fit those pretty things. It's a great formula to use for this with obviously way wackier characters, and that's why I really love the Muppets. I think they do some really funny stuff, and it's like hearty, like funny laughs. Like we even just watched just a little bit of a clip, and I was like cracking up.
Yeah, it's very vaudeville. At their best, they're very vaudevillian. It's like that kind of like old school kind of comedy you'd have on stage in like the 1920s and the Borched Belt and all that stuff. Yeah,
it does feel. At times it can feel dated, especially when they drop some of those references.
Hare Krishna references.
Yeah, the references and the stuff are dated, but when you put them into like a current or relevant situation, like the show that you sent me of the Muppets when they had like the late show, the variety show, the newer
Muppet show. Yeah,
that worked so well to me. I thought it was really funny.
Well, because the Muppets themselves are timeless because I think they lack all cynicism.
That has to be it.
Yeah, so it's like no matter what time you put them in, they always feel like they're not of that time. They feel like they're of some other time. So even in the 70s, they felt like they were this like kind of like vaudevillian thing from the 20s. Now they feel like
it also seems like they get away with stuff too, like kind of more adult stuff than they should.
Yeah,
but it still comes off as that's really cute because they're puppets at this point. So just kind of going through, I was looking at some of the information. Paul Williams and Kenneth Asher were the songwriters for this song, as well as all the music for the movie, correct?
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
That's what it looked like in the credits there.
Yeah.
Paul Williams, I was interested to see what other kind of stuff, and I was incredibly surprised. Paul Williams, songwriter behind We've Only Just Begun by the Carpenters, the theme for The Love Boat, Shaun's favorite TV show.
Oh, yes.
And actually, something very recent, the track Touch from Daft Punk's record.
That's right. That was Paul Williams singing, wasn't it?
So
because he's like
this guy's career is spread over multiple decades. It's quite incredible.
He also has a beautiful voice because Touch is a great song.
Touch is a great tune. Yeah. So I was just floored that these are the kind of talents that just last forever. And then when you're good, you get called for stuff throughout time, no matter how the industry looks. So that's a really incredible thing.
I think that was hiring someone like Paul Williams, though, I think was a masterstroke for the music of the Muppet movie with Jim Henson. I think that's kind of where the newer movies failed. Not so much failed creatively, but failed to keep it within the lore and to create canon. Because when you bring in someone like Paul Williams, who's like a great writer first, and he's now going to write for felt puppets.
Right.
Like you get songs that can stand out from their context.
Go ahead.
As I say, so like the Rainbow Connection, like is a great song and it means something in the context of the movie, but you can listen to that song or play that song or perform it out of context of the movie and it still makes sense.
Yes.
Whereas, if you take the new Muppet movies, like the 2010 one, I think the one with Jason Segel, There's like a song called "Man or Muppet" that I think it won the Oscar.
Yeah.
But like it's basically like the character wondering if he's a Muppet or a man, and that's fine. It's a good song, but
it's so
involved in that universe that
if
you remove it from that universe, you can't like just sing that at a party. It doesn't make any sense.
Is that an inherent issue with musicals in general?
Mm-hmm.
Where like you get a crossover success kind of song, like I'll throw one out there, like a Seasons of Love from Rent,
Mm-hmm.
Memories from Cats, that sort of thing. Those can work outside of the play, but most of them are within
right. The only ones that transcend.
You never are hearing the Jets song on the radio. The Jets are gonna
right. Exactly. It has to be able to exist out of context, and that's
actually tonight. That was that
there
song.
You go.
So
there we go.
I was in a production.
Can we cut this?
I was in a production of West Side Story, Sean. So
was I. I was in the same production.
Oh, that's
right. Matt was Diesel, one of the Jets, right?
Well, but Arik was Officer Krupke.
Yeah. It's not a surprise I got like one of 3 non-singing parts. Anyway, but yeah, musical songs that transcend the context of the what it's from are the only ones that ever have any staying power within pop culture, and that's why, like, for example, like Aladdin, I Can Show You the World.
Yeah,
is like, everyone's I still hear that song.
Yeah,
and whereas like, sure, the word magic carpet rides in it, but that's it. But whereas like, Friend Like Me is basically has a lot of genie specifics and a lot of like 40 Thieves is listed.
Right.
It's just it's too much within that universe. So the Muppet movie, like the first one, not a single song has the word Muppet in it. There's not a single song that doesn't just take a vague approach to the Muppet specific issue in that moment of the movie.
And the way the characters have always been is they're not Muppets in their world. They're regular ass
right. They don't really consider. I think it's not until the new Jason Segel movie in that version where I think they refer to themselves as Muppets.
Was that just like a chance that you think they were taking just to kind of do this kind of meta thing?
Maybe. I think they just didn't realize it. I think they thought that because they understood the tone of the Muppets, they understood everything. And I think
it just didn't.
Yeah, I mean, I can get into breaking that down. That's not necessarily musical based, so we'll stay away from that a little bit. But
we'll save that for another episode. The movie was 1979. Was that the first Muppet movie? That was like that was their first one, and
they had a TV show.
They had a TV show at that time.
Yeah, because they started as just little bits of comedy on other things. I know Jim Henson made like coffee commercials with a character that was kind of resembled Kermit the Frog, and they had some SNL stuff.
Okay, so they would pop in on different shows.
And then the Muppet Show was a hit, and then they made a movie shortly after that.
Jim Henson, he's been involved in several other projects than the Muppets. Was he involved with any of the Star Wars puppeteering? I feel like I've heard that.
I imagine the Henson Company made Yoda. I know Frank Oz voiced him, who voices Fozzie and Miss Piggy, but yeah.
Well, gosh, now that we don't know. Well, let's reach out to our Track Talk podcast listeners. So, why don't you guys?
Matt's on the floor.
he's having a stroke. So go ahead and tweet at us at the Track Talk Pod. No cast in there, at the Track Talk Pod, and let us know, was Jim Henson involved with Star Wars at all? I want to believe that.
It's kind of useless because by the time they answer, we won't be here to talk about it.
Well, hopefully they'll get to us eventually.
Okay.
Back in time, I don't know how they'll do that, but they'll figure it out. Let's get into Rainbow Connection, the lyrics.
Okay, let's break it down.
I saw you got a little printout there. Why don't you read along with me, and then I'll go through the verse, and then let's kind of give our thoughts. Rainbow Connection. Why are there so many songs about rainbows, and what's on the other side? Rainbows are visions, but only illusions, and rainbows have nothing to hide.
Yeah, this is very interesting to me.
Were they really just straight up like, over the rainbow, we're doing something right in the exact same realm?
Maybe. It might have been 1-to-1 to Wizard of Oz. I think that that first line is almost them trying to excuse themselves.
Maybe that's what it is.
It's like, we're not the only song about rainbows.
Yeah.
Why are there so many?
Which technically, I can't even. Over the Rainbow, Rainbow Connection. What really other songs about rainbows are there?
I'm sure in the 60s there are plenty of them.
I'm sure there are.
But I think the second line that you said, I think is really interesting.
What's on the other side?
No, the whole rainbows are visions, but only illusions.
Sure.
And rainbows are like, because but only illusions and rainbows have nothing to hide. Because I always think of things that are illusions as having the most to hide. I mean, you think of illusion, you think of like a magic trick.
Yeah.
So that's like nothing but hiding. I think in this context, I'm guessing what they mean is that their visions, only illusions have nothing to hide, meaning they're just fractured light that's creating illusion. There's no bigger sense to it. There's no spiritual significance
it's
to
not,
it.
It's not anything more than
Right.
just like a weather sky phenomenon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've been told, and some choose to believe it. I know the wrong. Wait and see. Someday we'll find it. The Rainbow Connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that. So we've been told, and some choose to believe it. It's basically this whole stanza
very,
saying
very similar to kind of what we were kind of getting into.
Well, it's basically saying like, some people think rainbows are just fractured light that have no significance beyond that. Some people believe that,
There's
but
something at the
I
end
think
of it.
they're wrong.
Yeah.
Wait and see. Well, so it becomes a spiritual song.
Yeah,
Right
almost
off
like
faith,
right at the
based.
top
Yeah.
too. And you have little green frogs singing about it, so it's like it's kind of a weird juxtaposition of that. But I love the lovers, the dreamers, and me. I
Right.
think that's just a lovely line, and that's the chorus, I guess you would
But
call
yeah,
that refrain through the
not
rest
to
of
look
the
at it
tune.
cynically, but if he's saying the lovers and the dreamers and me, then who is he? Because if he's not a lover and he's not a dreamer, what is he? Is that? I guess what I'm asking is
Maybe he's more the realist.
maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
Because he's the one, Kermit's the one, sitting in that swamp just singing his song. Like, maybe he doesn't think there's anything else out there for him. than
true.
just being
Maybe
here.
maybe it's a sad refrain. Maybe
Yeah.
it's like the lovers and dreamers, and then there's me. But I wish I was a part of those other groups.
Yeah. Is it? And I like that. Those are the two groups that he has the choice of being. And maybe
Right.
that's the thought, because there's lovers who kind of are kind of hopeful, kind of actually dreamers too. I guess lovers and dreamers might be in the same category too, if you kind of think of it that way too.
I think lovers can mean something like being passionate, and dreamers means aspiration. So it's like it's people with aspirations, and then those who are passionate about those aspirations.
Second verse. Who said that every wish would be heard and answered when wished on the morning star? Somebody thought of that, and someone believed it. Look what it's done so far.
Yeah, it's interesting. I like this because it's like it almost like admits some form of like secular concept while then saying, but it doesn't matter. It's like it's like a wish. It almost says like wishes are bunk. Someone just thought that
Someone
up,
thought that up,
and someone else believed it. But I think the look what it's done so far is saying I look at that as a positive. You could look at that as a negative, like somehow wishes are hurting people, like it's making people not actually do things. But I like look at it as like it's keeping hope alive. Like
I think that's what it is.
Yeah. There's no cynicism in that.
I like looking at it from that aspect of Kermit. I mean, I know it's it's Kermit and he's a Muppet, but like when you put it in the context of where this movie's going, like it seems super hopeful, and I love the way the lyric fits right on that music. Yeah. What's so amazing that keeps us stargazing, and what do we think we might see? Someday we'll find it, the Rainbow Connection, the lovers, dreamers, and me.
Yeah, that line's my favorite in the whole song. What's so amazing that keeps us stargazing, and what do we think we might see? Yeah. I think growing up, I totally misread that line or misheard it.
What do you think it was?
No, I heard it as being the same words, but I misinterpreted it, I guess I should say. Because I thought, what's so amazing that keeps us stargazing? I kind of took the word stargazing not as the literal gazing at stars, and took it more as like what energy keeps us going. I almost thought it was like a question of like, what is it that causes life almost? And I overly doing it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, what's so amazing? And in that context, it becomes gibberish because it's like, what's so amazing that keeps stargazing? What do we think we might see? It's like, what keeps mankind what keeps mankind living? And what do we think we'll see about life? Like, doesn't make sense.
I think that's a little bigger than what this song
so I think
might be pointing towards.
It means literally, like, not necessarily literally stargazing, but
what keeps us kind of looking forward, looking at kind of the thing there. Yeah.
What keeps us wanting to look forward to a new frontier, and what do we think we're going to find when we get there?
Right.
Yeah.
I like this line. This is the bridge now. All of us under its spell, we know that it's probably magic.
Yeah.
And I think he's starting to realize, like, maybe it's something that's out of my control, and it's it's magic, or maybe he's starting to figure out that, maybe if I just go for it and do it, maybe positive stuff will happen, and it'll continue. And he's having that. He's trying to figure that out while he's sitting there playing the song.
And I have trouble with that, though, because for this line, my trouble with this line, to me, it's the most vague. Like, what is it under its spell? Like, what is creating the spell? Is it the rainbow connection?
I think it's the rainbow connection. I think it's talking about the rainbow connection.
And yeah, I'm not convinced of that. I guess that's what it's the point.
Well,
that's
the point, right? And then finally, it goes into this last verse. Have you been half asleep and have you heard voices? I've heard them calling my name. Is this the sweet sound that calls the young sailors? The voice might be one the same. This verse confuses me.
This is Kermit in the insane asylum.
Yeah. Because the sailor part just throws me like completely.
No, actually, that's the one part of this that makes sense to me.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, because I think it goes back to the stargazing. Because I think stargazing, I think of like sailors on a ship looking at the stars.
Maybe, yeah.
And the frontier.
Yeah.
So I think that it's basically saying, like, the voices calling their name is basically the voices of the frontier or what you're going to pursue, like saying, like, hey, go forward, have an adventure. And then, this is this the sweet sound that calls the young sailors? Like, is this the same thing that motivated these young people to want to get on these ships and go explore and stuff like that? Well,
it kind of addresses a little bit here. I've heard it too many times to ignore it. It's something that I'm supposed to be. Someday we'll find it. The rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers in me.
Yeah, that's another line. It's something that I'm supposed to be. What I still don't know what the "it's" is in that, off the top of my head. Like, what is it? It's something I'm supposed to be.
Maybe it's what's at the end of the rainbow.
No.
Just no. Just no. Okay. Okay.
You've been listening to.
Kids, this is how you do discussions. You just say no or yes without any explanation. Why no? Why no?
No, I think it's a state of being that he's supposed to be, right? It wouldn't be a noun. It'd be like more of a... So I think it's like, I'm supposed to be like the sailor. I'm supposed to be like the person who goes out and pursues something. I think that's more what I would guess.
I can see that from there. And then at the end he goes la da da dee da do 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 la da 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 dee da do.
You see, that fourth la, I think.
So overall, for the meaning of these lyrics and the tune, I think we're both agreed that this is a song about our main character Kermit,
right?
Playing with that decision of wanting to kind of follow and try to go follow his dreams. I think that's
what's interesting is how ambiguous it is, because the whole premise of the song is one day we'll figure out what this song is, because it's like one day we'll find it the rainbow connection. So he's basically saying, like, one day I'll figure out what the rainbow connection is.
It's a bit inside of itself, isn't it?
So it's like the song's called The Rainbow Connection. It's about how we don't know what the rainbow connection is.
They're really lovely lyrics, and
they're beautiful.
And Paul Williams and Kenneth Asher really put together a really lovely opening song for this, and it's obviously, I would say, one of the most famous Muppet songs. There's also this and It's Not Easy Being Green are the two most famous songs from the Muppets. Although I guess technically It's Not Easy Being Green, I think, premiered on Sesame Street, but it's a Muppet. It's a Muppet song,
but it's I don't know which one would be number one, but one of those two, I imagine.
Well, I like I said, I think it's they did a really wonderful job, and it goes back to kind of what you were saying about how it works outside of the movie,
Yeah.
outside of that medium. It
That
works
is
as a recording, you know?
Yeah, that's the underrated element of these Muppet songs. Because, like, there's, as I said, like, there's not a single song in the Muppet movie that refers to the Muppets. Most of the songs in the original Muppet trilogy, the first 3 Muppet movies, this Muppet, The Great Muppet Caper and Muppets Take Manhattan, I think like 1 or 2 might reference it to being a movie, but don't specifically reference Muppets. But most of them don't. Most of them are.
I
here's the mood.
forgive kind of like the idea of it being a movie because number one, we're looking at freaking puppets running around America and stuff. But I want to go into the next part of our analysis here.
Okay.
And this is a section I like to call Song Basics.
Basic songs, you got the song, basic songs. Do 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 do.
Thanks to our previous guest, Mitchell Johnson, for helping us out with that audio drop. This is a section where we talk about the basic information of the song.
I quit. For those that can't see, Arik has stormed out of the room.
He's pulling out a revolver.
What you don't know is that was not a recording. There was actually a guy in the closet that came out and just sang that.
And he's already left, yes. So I'll just give you just kind of a quick breakdown. The runtime of the song, about 3 minutes, 16 seconds. Although in the movie, it had a beautiful like intro. That might be just the movie intro.
Yeah,
with
the movie,
like,
because I think they layer it over the score
Yeah.
for the first few like banjo strums.
It's really lovely. Key in A major. Shawnee, they do a modulation at the end of it though, so keep an ear out for that one. And type signature is in 6/8 time, so 1 2 3 4 5 6 1 2 3 4 5 6. Right at the top starts with that real simple banjo line.
And I love how it's the movie version. You have the strings under it from the score, but when you listen to it, like just the song, it's just like dun 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 dun, and then just silence.
Yeah.
For a measure.
Yeah.
Or then dun,
And then
dun,
comes
dun,
in.
Yeah, and that happens a couple of times, and so it's like this really like I feel like if the song is this guy Kermit T. Frog, like unsure of what to do but wanting to go forward, I feel like that's represented in just that opening first few lines.
Any
like
idea
few
what
bars.
the T stands for? His middle name? That's pretty good.
Kermit,
That's pretty good.
His middle name is The.
Yeah. So we got the banjo. Kermit's vocal comes in. The recording I heard from Spotify, chimes kind of leads in the verse. That might be that's from the soundtrack version I found on Spotify.
Yeah, there's a few different versions.
There's a few
and a lot
different
of
versions.
covers. Everyone's
We'll
covered.
get to the covers. I got a nice little section on that. Verse, vocals. The version I heard online has bass, strings, and light drums. Really lovely arrangement. A little bit different than what was in the movie, but I like both arrangements. It's almost like the movie arrangement was just banjo, vocal, and strings.
Which makes sense because in the movie you just see him playing banjo.
Right. This version on Spotify is really lovely, and I think you gave me an idea yesterday to post all the songs we've been talking about and create a little Spotify playlist. So I will do that this weekend, and I'll post it up for you guys to check out. Getting into that chorus, you're using the same type of things as far as banjo, bass, strings. The strings in that first verse though are very kind of intermittent. They're not completely filling up the whole thing. It's kind of building. Once it gets in that second verse, the strings really come in. It sounds very cinematic, and it seems. I guess maybe that's just the time, like in late 70s of movies and stuff. Like it was, they have access to these orchestras, and that's just like kind of budgets they had. Because nowadays, like me and Shaun know specifically, like we just do the strings in house, on our computers. But these string lines are so complex and stuff. They must have brought in an extra arranger to get this stuff recorded, and it's really lovely. Chorus, bridge, kind of the same thing. After that bridge, when he goes into magic, hits that little
Yeah.
modulation, it goes a little bit
It's
higher.
much fuller.
Yeah, and you don't hear modulations too often, Sean. So start thinking of putting that in our songs. Yeah?
Listen, we are all smart people here in this room, right? We all know what all these mean, but for for those people who don't know what modulation is, if you can
simply it means that every song that most songs that you hear will stay in a specific key, meaning it's using the same tonal center, same scale, same notes.
A major for this one.
A major for this one. In this case, when it hits that bridge section, the song will move up essentially a half step for all those notes and all those chords, and so it sounds a little bit higher, and it sounds like the song is picking up. That's the idea with the modulation.
So it changes pitch.
Pitch changes. Absolutely. That's kind of the easy way to think of it.
So is it
pitch.
modulate because it's going from A major? If it was going from C, would it be module C?
No. Not exactly. It would still be modulate, but you're doing a different type of modulation. This one, we're just going up half a step. So we get into that last verse on the. I don't know if you got a chance to listen to this soundtrack version on Spotify, but it does some extra reverb on Kermit's
on a few
vocals.
lines.
Yeah, and it must be to those voices. He was talking about hearing the voices, and
there's
must
like
be
an
to
echo.
that.
Almost.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
It's cool. It's very, very cool. And then they kind of finish out the song. All the way in, he's got his la-di-da intro, outro, and at the end, Shawnee's gonna love this. It had a little guitar harmonics stuff at the end. It sounds really cool. It's like 3 notes of guitar harmonics. Maybe it's the actual banjo harmonics.
Oh, that's right. Because
can you do those? Is that the thing you do on harmonics? Okay, but it's really good, man. This is a great tune.
It's a great song.
They produced it so beautifully, and It's a song for a movie. It's a song for a musical. Of course, the production is going to be beautiful.
Yeah.
So, I really enjoyed it.
That's good. That's good, Shawnee. We'll put it on the fridge. Little Shawnee came up with a little art he made in kindergarten today with a 45 on it. We're going to put it on the fridge.
Oh, my God. So, I'm going to go quickly through this because I don't want to lose Arik because...
Don't go. Let's take our time.
Well, I'm about to go into
I can't believe it's 45 minutes
I'm
already.
about to go into the chord analysis, so you're going to love this one. Real simple chords here. It's all mostly staying within the key. For the verse, it starts with an A, goes to F sharp minor to D to E. So you're starting with the 1 major, the 6 minor, the 4 major, and then the 5 major. That's all that verse part. Then
I could perform 3 of those chords on guitar.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have you play it one day.
The F sharp major, I can't. Once you start including sharps and flats, I'm just out. I can only play solid letters.
We get into that pre-chorus. It's D major 7, which is your 4 major 7, and then you get to that C sharp minor 7, which is a new chord in there, which would make it a 3 minor 7. Leads into our chorus. Yeah, naturally. Leads our chorus, which starts with the B minor, goes to E to A to F sharp again, and then finishes with that D to E to A. The only new chord in there would be that B minor, which is that 2 minor. This is all repeated all the way through the song, that exact same order, until we get to that last verse, which is modulated up into, I guess, A sharp, because A sharp is the next key, and then continues with those same progressions all the way to the end. So, real simple
you
song.
You can't see, but
lovely.
Matt was touching himself that entire time.
So no. I like talking about chords. I'm a keys player. I'm a guitar player. I like chords. All right, give me a break, man. I like my progressions.
I get it. I mean, this is a song a podcast analyzing a song, and that's an element that needs to be analyzed.
It's really lovely. These guys put together real beautiful chords to fit this great melody, and the arrangement is outstanding.
Yeah.
That's what I would say about this. Anything kind of in your eyes as far as the production and the musical part of this? I know that's not really.
It's very dreamlike. I can't tell you what they like. You can tell me maybe like the B minor flat 6/7 chord like really makes things dreamlike. That's not in
there actually. That's not a chord that you would find in there. So.
Is that a chord? Is that technically a chord?
It kind of is, but that's not the chord. That's
okay. Because I just did gibberish. So
there is a B minor in there.
But like I don't know, couldn't tell you exactly how the music makes it, but it is very dreamlike, very unreal, almost very fantasy feeling. And I think what's incredible about that to me is that it's recorded with a banjo. Yes. And you think of a banjo as almost the most earthy, down to earth, robust, not dreamlike,
Right.
like instrument. Like no one listens to a banjo and thinks like of the universe. You know,
It couldn't be more perfect for a frog living in the swamp.
Right,
Though. You
right.
know, it's really great. Let's go a little bit into its legacy. This song has been performed over and over and over in different situations and different Muppet iterations too, with plenty of different you were mentioned covers before. So I pulled the list of artists who covered it, and
it's a long list. I was
it's
looking at
quite a list. Let me read this out to you. Shaun, let me know if you've heard of any people on here, okay? Judy Collins, The Carpenters, Johnny Mathis, Sarah Bareilles, Sarah McLachlan, Kenny Loggins, Justin Timberlake, Willie Nelson, Weezer and Haley Williams, Dixie Chicks, Gwen Stefani, Darren Criss, Me First and the Gimme Gimmes, Less Than Jake, Peter Sincotti, Trespasser Williams, Jim Brickman, 15, Abney Park, Jane Monahan, Kate Nash, Dorian Wood, Heather Dale, Bad Veins, El Creepo. That's a real band. These are all names I got just from the wiki page.
Why do you sound like you're like announcing a music festival? Like you're like, come down, see Justin Timberlake, Gwen Stefani, The Carpenter. Like you were just saying it like this very like,
and they're all playing Rainbow
they're all
Connection.
playing just Rainbow Connection. Come down to the first annual and probably last Rainbow Connection musical festival. All your favorite bands playing the same song just once and then leaving.
I think that specifically speaks to what you were saying before. Once again, this comes back to it, is that you can take the song out of the movie and it works so beautifully as a separate song that's isolated as just a performance song or a recorded song, not having to do with the Muppets.
Exactly. You can't cover Man or Muppet. It's just like, it makes no sense out of context. Rainbow Connection, you could listen to and enjoy it and love it, listen to Gwen Stefani's version or whatever, and at the end of it, never know it was in a Muppet movie.
Yeah.
And like, that's why it would transcend.
It's really great. And some of these I've actually heard, some of them I haven't. I would love to hear, personally, the Weezer Haley Williams one, because I'm a big Haley Williams fan. I
think that's off of the Green album. A few years ago, there was an album to like try to like help the Muppets become popular again called the Green Album, where a bunch of different artists did covers of classic Muppet songs.
That's great.
OK Go did the Muppets theme song, I remember.
I think maybe we'll find it and I'll post a link on the old Facebook for you guys
to
check out.
There's a good cover of what's the song called from the Muppet movie? Go Back There Someday. Which is maybe the second best song from the Muppet movie after this one.
All right. So that one's definitely a check it out one.
Yeah.
And finally, I found this little nifty factoid. AFI, American Film Institute, put this on the AFI 100 Years 100 Songs list as number 74th greatest movie song of all time. So it's made the list.
Lucky 74.
Yeah, totally.
My Heart Will Go On was 1 through 73.
What's the name of the group you were listening to last night? The
Vitamin String Quartet.
Man, have you heard this? Vitamin String Quartet? So good. They do just every song you could possibly think of.
It's a string quartet that basically does covers of popular songs as string, no lyrics, but just as string songs. It allows you. I work at a hotel, as Matt mentioned earlier, in his laundry list of
He's
things.
a hotelier.
And I can play music for the lobby, but it has to be like, it's limited to what is appropriate for a hotel lobby. So I found this Vitamin String Quartet.
You're not playing Run the Jewels when you're checking people
Exactly. So this is great because I can play like, Michael Jackson, but it's like a string version. So it's like it fits for a hotel. It's great.
It's great. So as we kind of wrap up this section, what would you say are your kind of final thoughts on Rainbow Connection? What does it mean to you? What do you think it kind of means for just music in general, movies, all that?
I think it's just a fantastic version of something that is not revolutionary. I don't think the Muppet movie came up with the heartfelt song about Beyond. I don't think they invented the opening song that gives you an idea into the headspace of the character. None of that was invented by the Muppets, but they just did a great job doing a good version of it. And for me, like the whole Muppet movie is about, this frog that lives in the swamp on the East Coast who, ends up wanting to go to Hollywood to make millions of people happy and, make movies and stuff. And this kind of describes me as well.
Right. Do you think that's why it touches you quite a bit, this song in this movie?
Yeah, I think so. And I think that the Rainbow Connection was a song I sung, which I showed you guys.
Is that online?
That's on my Facebook page.
Great. We'll post a link for that.
No,
on our
you won't.
Facebook, so
I don't think it's set to public. So
I
you're
will
not gonna
find that.
But in kindergarten, we had like a kindergarten little showcase, play that kindergartens put on, and in it, everyone did like a little thing, and my thing was singing a verse from the Rainbow Connection.
Very cute.
It's
We
adorable.
watched it.
I'll
It's very
concede.
cute.
But like between that and also growing up, there was a close family friend named Jean who worked at Henson Company.
Oh, cool.
In New York, and so I would constantly be getting like free Muppet stuff.
Wow.
I went to like the Muppet Studios once, so I was like around Muppets a lot. That was a
cool.
big.
That's super cool.
So the Muppets was a big part of my childhood, and then I kind of shared that dream of wanting to pursue something in entertainment to make millions of people happy.
Yeah.
And I think the Rainbow Connection song is definitely a part of that, and so
that's great. I just love how you personally find your connection to it. I look at it just, for me personally, it's just like a gorgeous song, and like when you see it in the context of like a frog, like a puppet frog singing it, you're like, oh, this is gonna be weird. But I'll tell you what, that time the other day when I listened to this, I got a little like teary-eyed myself. It's super lovely, and then when you break down the lyrics like that and you think about it, about kind of what it could mean, especially as guys like us who are trying to make it in this industry, it means that much more. So Rainbow Connection.
Maybe making podcasts is the Rainbow Connection.
Maybe it is.
Maybe that's what he was looking for.
I think we should get Kermit on to discuss. I think
I wonder if
really
he'll pick a song I did.
That'd be great. So we've got to a point in the podcast where we usually have our guest host perform a song. Reek's not really like a musician performer, so
I have put out a rap mixtape.
He has put out
really doing that right now.
Yeah, he hasn't really done anything lately, so we can't really do anything. But the thing is, I'm not letting him get away with that.
Oh no!
So what I've done is I've compiled a couple beats, and I've placed them on Shaun's computer. So I'm gonna have you do quick little freestyle for us.
Oh God, really?
I'm gonna hit you with 3 different tracks.
All right.
They're not too fast, so you can hang in there, and
we could edit this out if it sucks, right?
oh, we're gonna keep it.
No,
no, you're gonna kill it.
This is not something
you're
I'm
gonna kill
happy
it.
about.
You're gonna kill it, and I think you're gonna have a lot of fun with it. So,
Oh, boy.
Shaun, are you all ready there?
This is
Great.
not gonna be fun. Oh Jesus!
Take your time.
Yeah. Yo, you're gonna hear me. Yo, you're gonna feel me. I'm rapping on this podcast, man, it's gonna heal me. Cause I've been feeling sick, cause my name's Arik. That means I'm a big dick. Yo, check it out. I'm killing it. Motherfuckers coming in here like ketchup spilling it all over their burgers. Man, you heard her? She said Arik, he's the awesome murder. And that's where it all goes. That's where it all goes south. You lose the track.
Hey man, it was tight. I got another one coming up for you.
Oh God.
No, you're killing it, man.
This is not all right.
This guy's the man. I love
Can
it.
I just do verse? Okay.
Do a written, spit a written if you want, dude. Yeah. If you got something you feel. Yeah.
I'm trying to. I don't have any of my verses memorized.
So feel something out.
Okay.
Here's another one. Here it comes.
What the hell is this?
Oh, you're gonna feel it. I see your head nodding.
I feel like I just got teleported to the 80s or something. Yo, guess what? It's time to flow. All these motherfuckers know that I go over to where their hoes at. Yo, check it out. I got these hoes at my crib, yo. They so damn hot. Yo, they say a week you hit the spot, like a sick sandwich that you eatin'. Yo, check it out, this the beat I'm beatin'. Written by Matty and maybe Shaun. When they're done, cause I'm gonna go home. Then I'm gonna take a nap. Then I'm gonna drink milk like a cat. I will lap it up.
That was really great. All right, here we go. You gotta do justice. This is the Track Talk podcast theme song right here.
This is the...
It's our theme song right here.
How long is it?
You got a little bit.
Okay.
You got a little bit here.
Do you have a song you want to listen to? Then do Track Talk. You want to have a song you want to listen to? Then do Track Talk. We're here at Track Talk. We're analyzing songs. There are two sides to every story, but what we say is right and what you say is wrong. Cause this is Track Talk. Cause this is Track Talk. This isn't track speech. This is Track Talk. There you go. You got a new theme song now. You got lyrics.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Beautiful.
Is that you trying to clap?
Yeah, I'm trying to. That was great. All right. That's almost there, right? Yeah. That was nice, man. Come on.
I mean, it was all right.
You're having fun.
I like that second one. I like doing that voice on that second
Yeah,
one.
maybe you should do that for more
Yeah,
stuff.
that should be my rap voice. That was kind of tight. I like that.
Thank you for cooperating with us. I know we threw that on you, but it was something I've been planning on doing for a long time since I knew your
fucking
name.
Dick. More like fuck talk.
All right,
More
Arik.
like trap talk.
As we, Arik. All right. As we kind of wrap up here, Arik, where can we find you online? I know you got some stuff out there.
I don't really have much of an online presence. You could find me. I have an Instagram, Arik the Cohen, and I also have a YouTube, which is Arik the Cohen. I have a Twitter that I don't use, but if you want to see the 4 tweets I tweeted like 5 years ago, go to Arik the Cohen. That's ARIKTHECOHEN, much like Kermit The Frog. My middle name is the. So I think of those 3, YouTube is probably the best. So Arik the Cohen.
Excellent. And why don't you tell them a little bit about Bombardier?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to. If those of you who are in the LA area, you want to laugh your ass off the first Wednesday of every month, I have a sketch team I'm on with 11 other hilarious people. And we perform a half-hour sketch show every first Wednesday of the month at Upright Citizens Brigade Theater. It's the theater that Amy Poehler started, along with some other people.
Where can you get those tickets?
You can get them at a website of UCBs that I don't have memorized.
We'll post that up on the Facebook page.
Or you just show up.
Me and Shaun have gone to several of these shows. I've been to almost every show, and these guys are hilarious. So funny. Arik has been on fire, especially in the last couple months with his sketches, and I'm sure there's even more good stuff to come. So please, when you're in LA, come check it out. Actually, come to LA just to check out.
Don't do
Bombardier.
that. That's a terrible idea.
Come at. I always say it's the best $5 you can spend on entertainment in LA, and it's absolutely true. I absolutely believe that.
Does that include prostitution?
I don't know if you can get anything for $5.
Oh, it depends.
What?
Shaun will do a lot for a little. Shaun doesn't want to be working the morning shifts anymore. He wants to.
Well, speaking of, thanks to our producer, Shaun. I know I give this guy a hard time, but he deserves every bit of it.
That's a really fucked up sense.
He does a great job setting up all the mics and
does.
getting this thing recorded. And thank you so very much, Shaun. Please rate, review the Track Talk podcast on iTunes. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe on your social media places. You can find audio of today's episode and previous episodes on SoundCloud, iTunes, and the podcast app. Videos of today's performance, Arik's freestyle, and previous performances can be found on our YouTube channel, the Track Talk Podcast.
We'll see if I let that go.
For new episodes, updates, news, and photos, follow us on the Track Talk podcast on Facebook. And if you have song ideas, song facts you want to share, or just want to tell me I got the wrong key for that song, you can tweet us at the Track Talk Pod. No cast there, at the Track Talk Pod. Thanks to our guest host, Arik. Any last words to leave our listeners?
I've got 2 words of advice for all of you out there. Keep it gutter. Keep it grinding. 1.
And as always, keep listening to music, keep writing songs. This is the Track Talk podcast with Matty. We'll see you next time.